Do you want to know how to find gold easily as well as other precious metals? I'm going to show you how I do it, and you'll be surprised how easy it can be. I'm Terry with Everything Homestead, and the Everything and Everything Homestead is for good reason, because if you're a homesteader, you have a lot in common with the prepping community. You have a lot in common with the self-reliance movement that's out there, and you have a lot in common, well, with any financially minded person out there. You have a lot in common with that, because without those things, they all kind of tie together in what the homestead is all about. So the financially minded part of it is why I'm here today in this video. I'm going to show you some of the tips that I use to find, for the main part of this video is to find gold. And I just came across some just the other day, and I'm going to show you how I did it, what I found. And it's kind of neat. Some people know about it, but not many. So with the gold, the price right now for gold is about $2,000 an ounce. And I mean, there's silver, a little over 20 bucks an ounce, copper, not a whole lot. And then palladium is a metal that people don't realize is out there, and is almost, it's about half the value of gold right now. So to find these metals, I myself have for years and years gone to auctions. I would buy things at an auction, primarily antiques or collectible items, and then I'd resell them on places like eBay or wherever I could get them. So I've been doing the auction thing for a lot of years, and I've learned a lot through those years. I know more and more what to look for, and I realize a lot of things about items that most people at these auctions don't know about them. So at an auction, that's actually where I got this first thing I'm going to show you. Just yesterday, I got back home. All these auctions nowadays, most of them are online auctions, which I don't like, because I can't get as good of deals anymore like I used to, as opposed to the real live on-site auctions that I used to go to. But this one was an online auction, and the only reason I got a deal at this auction is because I'm thinking that most of the people that were looking at these items that I was bidding on really didn't know the true value of them, and I'll show you what they are. I spent about $40, and you're gonna think I'm nuts when you see this, but about $40 for these. Can you believe that somebody had an auction, and that somebody had a problem with glasses or throwing them away? Maybe they collected them. I'm not sure what the reason. It was an estate sale, but most people look at that and go, really? Terry, you got a screw loose. What are you thinking? Well, what I'm thinking is that I could look at the pictures online, and from those pictures online, I could automatically tell, because I recognized what I was looking at, that in that box, I pulled these out, and all these frames have gold in them. I'm not sure how many people know that. Some people do. But there are, I think there was 14 or 15 pairs of glasses with gold in them, and each one probably, at the current price of gold right now, I would say between $15 and $25 worth of just gold on those frames. There's a ton of people that overlook those things. I don't, since I figured out there's gold in them, because over the last 10, 12, 15 years, everywhere I go, I look for them. You can find some really good deals. I bought them for 50 cents before. It's a really easy way to accumulate them. And what I'll do eventually, when the time comes, when the price goes to where I like the price to be, where I'll have them, the melt value up to where I want them, I'll turn them in. And either I'll get gold coins in exchange for that, or I'll just turn them in for whatever currency I want. People look at these things, they're like, oh, they look like the old great-great-grandma glasses. A lot of them have chips and scratches and dings, and these little nose pads are all worn out, and everybody sees that. They don't see the gold. So that's why people don't look at these. They look over these things. They don't see the gold. Now, the easiest way to tell if there's gold is on the inside of this bridge piece here is usually a stamp. It will probably say 12 karat gold filled. You don't want gold plated because gold plated is so thin. I mean, this is thin. The gold filled is thin, but the gold plated is even thinner yet. A lot more gold content in the gold filled items. Just look at the stamp here. There's so many different kinds of stamps that represent gold. You can go online and you can get a reference sheet. Maybe I'll show you one here. But usually if you see 12K, that's gold. That's the most common for these eyeglasses. If you see something that's 20K, even better. That means there's more gold content in that item. But usually that'd be something like a ring or a pocket watch or something. And that brings me to the next thing that I find gold at a lot is in old pocket watches. The old, Elgin and different companies made pocket watches. And most of them, the old ones from, 80, 100 years ago, they use gold. And gold is a very, very soft metal. So they have to have a base metal that they apply the gold to. And that's why they call it gold filling. They fill it in with gold. Now, if you got to be careful though, because if you look at this one here, you see where it's faded there. Since the gold is applied to the outside, when it sits in someone's pocket, the part that wears off is the gold. The gold wears off. So this is the base metal showing through, and this is the gold that's left. So that dramatically changes the value of an item. If all the gold's worn off, there's no gold to worry about on there. But there's still gold on here, so there's still gold value here. There's more and more people catching on to these though, I think, as far as gold goes, but not as many, because I was at a live auction a couple years ago. I got this little pocket watch, and this one has gold on it. This one has gold on it. This section has gold on it. And when it came up to auction, the auctioneer said, "This gold watch doesn't work." And you could just kind of hear everybody sigh. Oh, well, I bought it for like $5, I think. I got this for $5, and people are like, you can almost see people rolling their eyes. They're turning and looking over at me like, what in the world? It's probably a lady's pocket watch. It's broken. What does that guy want with it? I wasn't going to tell him it's for the gold. There's probably $50 worth of gold just right here. And here again, there's a stamp. They usually always have a stamp. And it might not focus or set in, but if you look right here, there's different kinds of stamps. Warranted is the usual stamp you'll see, but you got to familiarize yourself with what those stamps represent. Not all pocket watches are gold. Quite a few are if you keep your eye out for them. So one other tip that I do if I go to auctions, and that's where I started out talking, but I also go to garage sales. I can find these same things in garage sales. Flea markets, same thing. But what I like to do is on my keychain, there's my keychain. I have the keychain so that when my vehicle's running and I start to take off from home, like, oh, I forgot something, I gotta go back. Rather than shut my car off, I can just disconnect my house keys from my vehicle, leave my vehicle running, especially in the wintertime if I want to get the thing warmed up. But this is a magnet that I take with me. So when I go to an auction or garage sale, one of the ways you can tell if something is made of gold or not, especially if you have the gold necklaces. If you go to a sale, a garage sale, or an auction, there's a box full of necklaces and they all have gold color. But the easiest way to tell if it's real gold or not is to take your magnet up to them and it will not stick to the gold necklace. People always give me the funny look when I stick this thing in a box of jewelry and I come up with a bunch of necklaces stuck to it and I'm sitting there pulling them off, but I'm not going to tell them what I'm doing. So that's not the foolproof way, but that's an easy way just to get you through in a tight spot like a garage sale where you're on the spot and you don't know if it's worth spending $5 or 50 cents or $20 or $50. But like you look at this this watch here, got my magnet. It doesn't stick to anything like there, but this dial up here, that's not gold. It's gold colored, but it's not gold. But if you look at it, see it sticks right to it because it's not gold. So just a quick little tip on that. Another thing, and I'll give you a bonus place that I go to find these items too a little bit later on, just hang on. Another place to find some precious metals, gold, what is it, silver, copper, and palladium. You can find all these items in a lot of electronics nowadays. A lot of the circuit panels. I've got one here. There's a big one. This thing has probably all those things. I know for sure it has palladium and gold. If you look at these things, if you look at a circuit panel, anything that looks gold color is probably gold. So like these are all gold. And this is gold. So then the other major component is on this particular one is these black, I guess you call them resistors, capacitors, I think they're resistors. Each one of these has palladium in them. So you can only imagine how much palladium you'd end up with each one of these. So when you have any piece of electronics, whether it be a TV, VCR, computer, this one actually came out of an old arcade game that was being junked. Anything electronic, even some light bulbs, I think even have some these new LEDs. Just about anything has got these in. What I plan on doing, I mean, if you have the know-how and the equipment, you can actually process all these, melt them all down, and get the raw product yourself. But I plan on I'm going to go online and find a company that'll do it for me. A lot of times, if you go online to find these companies, they require you to have 300, 400, 500 pounds of this stuff to make it worth their while. Otherwise, if you don't have that much laying around, you could probably go on eBay and sell it by the pound, if memory serves. So then, other than that, if I had to go and look for other precious metals of some type, one of the most overlooked thing is sometimes right in your pocket or your purse, whatever you do, is in coins. There are coins that were made from before 1964 and earlier that were made of, some of them were made with 90% of the coin had silver. And so like the dimes, here's a dime, and 90% of this coin is made of silver. Again, like the watch with the wear, that affects the value. Likewise with these dimes. You can see this one here. It's not too bad. I mean, as old as it is, I mean, it's going to have somewhere from going in and out of pockets and whatnot. But then you compare this to, I'll get this one here. It's got quite a bit of wear. Let's put them side by side. You can see this one is worn just about smooth. So again, that's the silver wearing away. But since 90% of the coin is silver, there's still a fair amount of silver there. The best way to calculate the amount of silver in the coins you have would be to take the number 0.7215, just off the top of my head, multiply that number by the monetary value you have, which in this case is 20 cents. Multiply that number by 20 cents, and then multiply that number by the current spot silver price. And that will give you the value of silver that you're dealing with. Because like I said, it's not 100% silver. So to get you in the ballpark, if you need to do some quick math, you can just remember that 0.7125. So if you go to an auction sometime and they're bringing up some quarters that have silver, 50-cent pieces that have silver, you can do, well, I can't do it in my head, but you can get out your calculator and do some quick math to figure out where the price should be, whether you're going to get a deal or not. And again, that's the current spot price. If you're of the mindset that the price of the silver or the gold is going to quadruple or go up tenfold, then just buy it, because then you'll have it. It's going to probably do nothing but go higher, in my opinion. Another thing that commonly gets overlooked is the silver in the old silverware, hence the name. So there are some people that kind of keep an eye out for that stuff, and it's harder to find. You could probably maybe find it at a garage sale maybe. Sometimes people go to Goodwill or a secondhand store, and if you get lucky, you can rifle through and you can find them. So there are silver stamps on these. If you can find anything, jewelry like a silver ring, if you want to look for the word sterling silver, because the sterling has the higher amount of silver content in them. Some of them that are just silver plated, there's a very small amount of silver in them, and it may not be worth your time if it's silver plated. Time for the bonus place where you can go find some precious metals. A lot of people, in fact, I think just about everybody overlooks this place. It is antique stores. People think of antique stores, they think of old grandma and grandpa smelling house type furniture and some old dishes and stuff. But I always go in there, and I usually can find, and you'll find pocket watches in there, but most antique store people are up on the gold issue with pocket watches, but a lot of them are not up on glasses. A lot of them aren't. I don't know how many of these. I've gone in antique stores and I'll buy these things up. A lot of them have $10, $15 a piece. I'll buy them. I mean, that's probably the low end of what they're really worth in gold, and gold's only going to go higher from now. So that's the key place to look for these. You can find them at garage sales, auctions, and all that kind of stuff. But the quickest way is whenever you're visiting a different community, look up their antique store. Go check them out. You might get lucky and find one of these. Maybe it's broken but still for sale and they don't understand it's the true gold value. Maybe you'll get a good price on one of these, but there's a really good chance you can find these. I've just about always found these at antique stores, and they're just about always at a decent price. So like, subscribe, give me some ideas in the comment section down below on where you do find your gold, silver items that I neglected to mention. You can obviously go to a dealer and buy the bullion or whatever you think as far as that goes. Obviously that's easy, but it's not the most economical like the ones I was pointing out to you. You can always go deep sea diving, look for that sunken treasure, but that's not what I'm up to. So I don't need to spend all my time away from the homestead doing this kind of stuff, but this is a quick, easy way to accumulate on the cheap. Catch you later. Don Johnson. Ringo. Elton John. Santa Claus. Roz from Monsters, Inc.